let's recap. What we did was we created an AWS account. In the setup, Salesforce created a brand new AWS account for us, and this account will be owned by Salesforce. And all necessary resources were created in AWS, and cloud formation templates were created in North Virginia region for the AWS account. And we also created a contact center. All the resources were created in AWS. Also, we found that contact center template of cloud formation was created in the contact center region itself. All the resources were created, and there is a concept of like connected apps which gets created. So for each contact center that we create, there will be 2 connected apps created in Salesforce. We'll deep dive more into it, like what is connected app, why it is useful, how do we maintain it, all those. We'll just look into next steps. But just remember that for every contact center that you create in Salesforce, there will be 2 connected apps that is created. Now again, comparison between like the Salesforce owned AWS account versus like the account managed by the customer. So AWS account is managed by Salesforce. The advantage over is like billing between your Salesforce and AWS is completely managed by Salesforce billing itself. You don't have to like pay between like 2 different sources of billing, and there are like predefined AWS services. Like there are a limited set of services that you'll be able to access it, but also there are like add-on packages where you can buy if in case that you want to use additional services within AWS. And you can only create a new contact center if in case that you are having a contact center already within Amazon Connect that you want to integrate. That can't be done with bundle. Then you'll have to bring your own Amazon licenses. And the only limitation when compared over here is that your contact center cannot be created in North Virginia region when you are creating bundled account. So right now, if you have seen, when we try to create a contact center, North Virginia region was not available. But if you are using your own Amazon account and trying to integrate it, you'd be able to see that region. So that's the primary difference. So here it is opposite, where like your AWS account billing is managed by customers, so they'll be able to access n number of services that are available within your AWS. So they'll have like 2 separate billings, and you can either create a new contact center or integrate your existing contact center. And your contact center regions are not limited here. Whatever is available with AWS, you'll be able to access it. So these are the services. I don't think you'll be able to access this information anywhere else. There's no documentation. This is a community post where someone from Salesforce provided this information. So by default, these are the services that you'll be able to access within your account that is created by Salesforce. But AWS has like a lot many more features where you'd be able to access it when you're bringing in your own account. But with bundled or like whenever AWS account is created by Salesforce, these are the services that you'll be able to access it. Now let's deep dive into omni-channel concept of like how Amazon Connect uses this versus like Salesforce uses it. So let's say you want to set up your omni-channel in Amazon Connect. You'll have queues, you'll have routing profiles. Routing profiles are added to the queues, and then agents are added to the routing profile. So let's say if agent is proficient in account and then they are good in like Spanish language and English language, we can create a routing profile and add relevant queues to that routing profile. And when I'm creating a user, I can add that routing profile. So if a particular call comes in for an account related question and the customer speaks Spanish, the call will be routed to this agent. And one routing profile can have like more than one queue, or it can have like just one queue. So routing profile has only one queue, but routing profile has like 2 different queues. So whenever an agent is available, the call will be routed to them based on the priority. So you can configure your priority or delay within your routing profile. Based on that configuration and agent availability, the calls will be routed. This is how like Amazon routes it, but it's little different than Amazon when you compare it to the Salesforce. So you add routing profiles to the queue, but Salesforce will check if an agent is part of the queue or not, and then like route the work item to them. So it is little different. So that's the reason that we don't use Salesforce queue here. The routing is all managed by Amazon. So there will be a similar setup where we will map Amazon queues with Salesforce queues. But what we won't do here is that we won't add users to the queue in Salesforce. So that's the key difference here. So the key points that you need to understand is that any resource that you create in AWS will be mapped to Salesforce. That's how like it establishes the integration. You don't have to necessarily, you won't be able to add agents into the queue because the routing happens via Amazon. All it needs is a mapping. You don't have to add agents into the queue within Salesforce for Service Cloud Voice. But for like if you're using other channels, then you'll have to use it. So that's the reason that here your routing profile in Salesforce will be something called as external routing. External routing is where the routing will be managed by an external system. In this case, that Amazon will be managing it. So we'll look into that steps. Now what we are gonna do is we are gonna create resources in Amazon Connect. So I'm switching to Amazon Connect here. Okay. First thing is where we'll deep dive into these features. So you see a phone feature and you see phone numbers. This is where you'll be able to claim phone numbers. So let's see quickly how we can claim a new number and test it out. So you can see here, you can click on claim a phone number. We are going to use it for voice. You can see either toll free or like TID numbers, and I'm going to choose US number because the tax setting and everything is set for US. So I'm just going to click a number, and here you can actually attach a IVR experience. I'm going to search for sample SCV inbound flow. So you can see this prefix where sample SCV are the first that comes out of the box with Salesforce. We'll deep dive into it. But for now, I'm just going to click on sample SCV inbound flow, and then like I'm going to hit on save. So by this time, if this number is claimed, you will see an error. If not, that number will be claimed within your AWS account, and you should be able to see that number popping up here. So I can see that the number is here. Now, the next thing that I want to do is that go into user management and then show a user here. So I'm a user here, and you can see when you try to create a user, you would need the security profile and the routing profile here. We'll try to create a user from Salesforce as an agent and see how it looks, but ideally you should be able to see this information here. And I'm going to go to routing profiles. I'm going to create a new routing profile called a sales. Let's give a description as well, sales routing profile, and it is enabled for voice. And queues, there's only one queue at this point. I'm going to add it and save it for now. And I'll have to set an outbound queue as well. So what I'm going to do next is, let me go create a queues first. Because again, if I go back, you add queues into your routing profile. So I'm going to create a couple of queues. One is called as sales. I'm not going to set any hours of operation here. And then I can just, okay, hours of operation, you can set it as default and then save this. And I'm going to create another queue called service as well. And I'll have to set the hours of operation save. Now let's switch back to routing profile. We created a new profile called as sales where I'm going to add a queue for sales into this routing profile and hit on save. And I'll create a new routing profile called as service as well. So this is enabled for voice. I'm not going to route any other channel, and I'm going to add service as well. So this is where you'd be able to set the priority and delay. So based on the number of calls that come in, based on the priority of each call, you can set up a delay as well. So I'm going to hit on save. This is service set on this as well. Okay, so make sure that you fill in all necessary fields and you should be good. So you can see the number of queues associated as well and the number of agents associated here as well. So what we'll do in Salesforce is that I'll go create another user which will act as an agent for me, and I'll show you what happens here. So I'm gonna name this as SCV agent. I'm gonna give my email address, SCV agent. And one other key concept is here, your username needs to be unique always in Salesforce for any user that you create. So that's the reason. After my email address, I'm just adding keyword just to make it unique. And I'm gonna give Salesforce license, and I'll give them a standard user for now. And I'm gonna hit save. So either there are two ways of assigning permission set. Either you can go to permission set and then assign it, or you see permission set assignments here. You can click on edit assignment and you can search for contact center agent and add it here. So I've added the user to the contact center. And how do I know if a user is added to a contact center at a user level? You can search for a field called call center. There is a field in the user level that tells you whether a user is part of call center or not. So here it is empty, but if I go search for my user and search for call center field, I can see that I'm added to the call center. And this is a limitation or a feature in Salesforce that one user can be part of only one contact center at a time. So if there are like multiple contact centers, then you can't have the same user be part of multiple contact center. You'll have to like remove them and add them again, but they can be part of only one contact center at a time. So I'll type in voice again. I'll go to Amazon contact centers and go to my contact center. And if I click on add, I can see my SCV agent. Now again, can I see only users with that permission set? Yes, that's a prerequisite. So if I try to remove this, and if I go to my contact center and try to add an user, it might not show up because you'd be able to see only users who has that licenses. So I'll go back there, add the licenses. Contact center agent, save button. Let's try to add the user. Now you can see that I'm trying to add an user, and once the user is added, you can see you'll get an email saying that the user is successfully added to the contact center. I'll refresh my screen here and you'd be able to see that the user is actually added in the contact center now. So I can see the user here. Now if I navigate to AWS, go to user management, I'll go to user management and you can see that the second user is also added. Now if I have to like remove a user, I can click on this checkbox and then like click on remove. I'll show you how it is removed as well. So if in case that you're having a different routing profile that you want to add to a user, we'll see how to do that as well. So I'm going to refresh this page and you can see that the user is removed. By the time that you will also receive an email saying that the user has been removed from the contact center. Now the reason that I removed the user is that I wanted to show you a key feature here. So if I click on add, if I choose this, you'll also see this checkbox here that create a quick connect for the users. So these quick connects are essential for you to transfer a voice call from one user to another user. So this is important for transferring your call. So I'm enabling this quick contact as well and I'm like clicking on done. Again, like it'll hit the connect instance and then it will try to create a second user which it got created. Now I want to show you the quick connect as well. So for the second user, SCV agent user, we should be able to see a quick connect got created here. So you can see that this quick connect got created. Cool. So what we did right now is that we claimed a phone number. We've looked at like one contact flow. We created queues and routing profile. So now what's easier way to, so the queue mapping is something that you'll have to do. Either you'll have to create Salesforce queue and map it to the AWS queue. So if I just click on this, you can see that the Salesforce queue was automatically created by the provisioning when we created this. And it uses something called as a routing configuration named as default for voice. Let's look at the routing configuration. So in routing configuration, you would be able to see the routing model. So it uses an external routing. This is what I told you earlier, that the routing will be managed by a third party system or an external system. Here it would be Amazon. So if external system routing configuration is added, you won't be able to add any users here. So that's the reason that you can't add or like you can't remove users from this queue. It will be blank. Now we had like queues and routing profile. So I can see the queue, I can see the contact center channel. Contact center channel are nothing but my phone number. So if I click on add and channel name, let's say voice number 1, and if I click on like phone number, I can see my phone number. So any phone numbers that you client in AWS Connect, you'd be able to see it here. And call routing, I'm just gonna choose it as queue, and I have like a CV basic queue which was created, and I'm just gonna hit save. So I can see that the phone number that I've claimed there is accessible within Salesforce, and you can map it to the routing here. So if I go to Amazon setup, when we enable voice, there are like other features that you can see for voice, more voice settings. So here the field that I'm going to enable is update Amazon queues and routing profiles. You're going to see the change. So when I enable this and go to my Amazon contact center and open my contact center, you can see that there are something called as contact center groups. Contact center groups are nothing but the routing profiles in Amazon Connect. So when I click on add, you can automatically create it, or you can select an existing one. So if I try to select an existing one, you can see that all the routing profiles that I created in AWS are available here. And let's say same happens for queues. I can map an existing queue as well. So you can see the sales and service. So you'll have to create multiple routing profiles and multiple queues. So that's where it is little hard when you manage like multiple queues and routing profiles. And Salesforce comes with an option called import Amazon Connect routing configuration. So this was available only if you enable that feature, the toggle feature in Amazon setup. So I'm just gonna click on import, and you can see that each queue for your Amazon Connect queue is mapped to Salesforce queue. Amazon Connect routing profiles are mapped to Salesforce contact center, and it will be able to associate all your routing profiles to your Salesforce queue. Let's hit import, and this is an ongoing process where like once this is available, you would also receive an email. So it might take few seconds to pop in, but let's see by refreshing the page whether it is available. So you can see all my queues are there. This is my Amazon queues and this is my Salesforce queue, and all my routing profiles are here. So I'm just gonna go to Salesforce queues, and I'll refresh the routing configuration as well. So you can see that the SCV basic queue was created, service was created, sales was created. Same way, routing profile is something that you might not need in Salesforce, because like you don't need a mapping here, because all the routing profiles will do the same mapping. So you might not see the routing profile as exactly here, but you'd be able to see it at the backend. But you can see that this group has like queues added to it. So sales has like a CV basic queue and here. So when you click on edit, you'd be able to like associate or like disassociate queues here. And if you want to like create a new queue, you can create a Salesforce queue, and then like that will automatically create it in AWS as well. That's pretty much about like managing or like customizing your contact center. We'll look into more into the next episodes.